Welcome to a nourishing midweek lunch hour conversation with Spokane's newsmakers, thought leaders, and popular entertainers. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live.
It's April 25th. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. A couple great guests today. Larry Krauter, who is the Spokane International Airport CEO, is going to talk about some great renovations going on. And Bev Reed with Rotary 21, that's the biggest Rotary club in Spokane, is going to talk about Rotary and all the things they do in the community. Next on Spokane Talks Live.
For the Inland Northwest's most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. On your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with spokesman.com.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. We're inside. A great day. We should really be hosting the entire program outside. It's so beautiful. Larry Krauter, I gotta mess up your first name. Is that crazy? CEO of the Spokane International Airport, otherwise known to many of us who have traveled a lot as GEG, right?
Yes.
Big things are happening, aren't they?
Yes. Kent, thanks for having me
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
show today.
Absolutely.
It's really a pleasure to be here. There are big things happening.
Yeah.
And we have a current state at the airport right now where we have converted on a number of air service opportunities that we were chasing for several years.
Yes, yes.
And what's interesting is that we've literally experienced about 4 to 5 years of growth in 10 months.
Oh, wow. Wow.
In terms of where we thought we were going to be versus where we ended up. So in 2017, we actually had 11% growth in passenger enplanements.
Are you kidding me? That's tremendous by anyone's standard, right?
One of the fastest growing smaller airports in the country, as a matter of fact. And that was brought on by us, as I mentioned, converting on a number of air service opportunities, new routes that we had been trying to chase for our community for several years.
Now, one of them is San Jose, right?
Well, one is San Jose, and prior to that, San Diego, which was announced by Southwest last year, both Chicago O'Hare and San Francisco, operated by United, and then Dallas-Fort Worth on American, and then Sacramento on Southwest. So the San Jose
all
service,
key cities, really.
All key cities.
For those of us who have relatives and do traveling and so forth.
Yes, all key cities, and what was really impressive is it all in a very compressed time frame.
Yeah.
So normally we would have been really excited to add one city a year.
It's called scramble, isn't it?
Right. Yes, and so we've gone from 0 to 60 in terms of peak hour related challenges, and so some of the customers are experiencing some longer wait times at screening. And they're having a little bit more challenge finding a parking space these days. And so I'm really glad to be on the show today, just to
because you're going to address all that, aren't you?
Help listeners and folks that are tuning in understand that we have a couple of things that we're doing. One is that we have a fast track project that our board will approve shortly to add one additional lane at the screening checkpoints, both in the AB terminal and the C terminal.
Oh, okay, yes.
So right now we've blended pre-check and the regular lines. And that has caused some concerns with passengers, particularly the pre-check passengers.
Right.
So we will be able to hopefully restore pre-check at peak hours by the summer travel season.
This summer travel
This summer
season.
travel season.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
So we are fast tracking that.
Yes.
The second project that we're going to be doing this year on a fast track is to actually create more economy lot parking spaces.
Okay.
That is our most popular product, and really great if you have a big family and you're going on vacation.
And you're going to be gone for 10 days.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a really affordable parking, option for people. And so,
however, you've run out of room.
We have run out of room, and so people are taking longer. Sometimes we are overflowing the lot.
Wow.
And so we are going to be pursuing a very large paving project that we hope to have done this fall, so that we're ready for the holiday travel season in Thanksgiving, Christmas time.
That is fast tracking.
So
now,
those
where are you going to add it? I'm trying to visualize where that's going to go.
The best place I can say is probably that most people will recognize is probably behind the hotel areas.
Okay.
There's a large grass area behind the hotels,
right,
and in between the inbound road.
Okay.
And we're going to use that area for more parking.
Okay. So as you're coming in, it's off to your left before you start making the big turn. Okay.
Yes.
The last time I did a lot of flying was back before 9/11, when you could park almost anywhere and walk on the plane. 5 minutes before. Things have changed, but it's a good change in that we're seeing more people come to Spokane, more people traveling, going places, which means businesses are flourishing and so forth. So I see it as a good thing.
It is a good thing, and I think the other really important element of the airport is that we have to remember that we are the first and last impression that someone may have of our community.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that they have a really good passenger experience, that they see, well-maintained facilities, that they see a community that wants to invest in its airport.
Yeah.
And so for us, that is kind of a segue into the terminal renovations.
It's as important as anything downtown or anywhere else. It
well
really
said.
is. And I can think of many friends who have come to visit and go, oh my gosh, I can get in and out of this airport in a reasonable time. People who live in LA and places like that, and they're spending 16 hours waiting to try to get on a plane and all of that. And yes, there's a wait, but right now, but gosh, you're addressing that awfully quickly.
We are, and we are also refuse to compromise on some of the elements that really set us apart, which are, among other things, would be cleanliness of the airport. Even though we've had this significant growth, we are still very focused on maintaining the airport, in a very clean way, because that says a lot about the community.
It does, as people are walking through and they might be tired from traveling or whatever, and they see stuff on the floor and other places. That's the impression. That's what they remember is the clutter.
And also just continuing to stay focused on providing just excellent customer service.
Right.
And so owning, problems that people have, trying to help them solve those problems is very important to us. And so all of our staff at the airport, whether it's a police officer, firefighter, operations, parking, even an administrative employee, will go out and try to help customers every single day. And we get a lot of compliments on that.
And you were telling me before we went on today, which impressed me. It shouldn't surprise me knowing you, but it impressed me that you're willing to respond to people when they send in an email and so forth, that you'll take the time to address that.
Absolutely. Very important.
And sometimes, we see folks get in those positions, and I know you have an overload schedule. I mean, that's a given.
That's part of the deal.
Yeah,
yes.
But that you'll take the time to do that.
Yes.
And would an LAX, would a San Francisco? Probably not.
Well, and what
and I'm not disparaging
I think
them.
you're right, but I think what else is really interesting is I try to turn those situations into people being my secret shoppers.
Yes.
Right? So I get the input, particularly from people who come in and out of the airport. And what's really interesting is they take so much pride in the airport that they're
willing to take the time
and say, hey, this could be improved, or hey, did you think about trying that? And to me, that just speaks volumes about our community.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy my job so much.
Now, there are some big changes coming beyond what you've talked about. Let's do this. Let's take a commercial break and then come back and talk about that, because big things are about to happen soon, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org. Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams, Larry Krauter from the Spokane International Airport. And I say the International Airport. Sometimes we forget that we have planes coming in from other countries, don't we?
Well, and that we have a full-service customs capability to clear aircraft, right. And that is why we maintain, that international status.
Right.
But we actually are working actively on trying to reconnect in Canada, both with Calgary and with Vancouver. And
yes,
so
good.
We've had some very encouraging meetings recently on that topic.
Good.
But that'll be the next show.
Okay. All right. So you're coming back next week?
Yes, sir.
That was a quick answer. We talked about the TSA issue and getting through the line, and you're addressing that for this summer. You are addressing for the next couple of months. So by this fall, what I'll call the holiday season, there's more parking and so forth, which honestly, I'm surprised that you guys are able to jump on that quick. That's great. I mean, that just shows leadership and shows responding to a need, which sometimes we don't see in government, okay? So I'm sorry if I'm, so excited because we don't see that sometimes. Now, beyond that, that's the fix for now for the next 6 months to 12 months. But we're continuing to grow, and we're only going to get bigger and better. And I've seen you talk about the things that are coming. Let's spend the next few minutes talking about the long-range plan. And what is that, a 5 to 10-year plan?
I think right now, because of the accelerated growth,
yeah.
I really am referring to this more of as about a 5-year plan.
Okay.
And I think, had we been having this conversation 3 or 4 years ago,
yeah.
It probably would have stretched maybe a little bit further out.
Right. But you can't afford to stretch it too long, can you?
Not at this point.
Yeah.
And this is a great opportunity because several years ago we were trying to do that look over the horizon.
Yeah.
To see what is out there as we grow in the ways that we felt we would grow coming out of the recession.
Right.
And that was a much more gradual growth rate than obviously what has occurred. And so now we're as we had talked about before the show, we have this high-class problem. Of trying to figure out.
Careful what you ask
right,
for.
Exactly. We've caught we've made our objectives and we just made them all at once. And so as we continue to look at that, we know that we have a need to renovate and expand the existing terminal buildings.
Okay.
So the challenge, when you look at our existing terminal area, we have two very different types of buildings.
Okay.
One built in the 60s, just
right.
as the jet age was, starting out.
Right.
And then the other built at the end of the 1990s, just before 9/11.
Yes.
And so we have these two.
And neither designed for after 9/11.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what happens at 9/11 is, the TSA is created, and we jam in
yep.
checkpoints in what space was available in the two buildings.
Right.
And because primarily of the recession, those lasted a lot longer than we anticipated.
Right.
But we recognize that right now that's the bottleneck.
Yeah.
And so the Terminal Renovations Project will really focus on a couple of things. One is fixing the checkpoint-related issues.
Okay.
And actually making the two buildings work together.
Okay.
Instead of being
Yeah, they kind of are separate, aren't
yes,
they? I mean,
they
physically, but also
yes.
just operational.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we intend to do that over several phases in the program. And so go through and see is, you know, on our diagrams that we have a couple of concentration areas.
Okay.
And probably the biggest the biggest area that readers will notice is baggage.
Yeah.
So right now, between the two terminal buildings, there's a great big area
Yes.
where we have an opportunity.
Yes, yes.
And that opportunity.
And I was going to ask you, what's kind of behind that hallway? That's room to build things?
Room to build things.
Okay,
and,
okay.
And so we see this opportunity to actually build a consolidated baggage claim area.
Ah, okay.
And
okay.
and that is shown in...
So one bigger, functional, better functioning baggage
Exactly.
area. Okay.
That's exactly right. And that's
Wow.
kind of the key to unlocking opportunities to go back and renovate the building. So we build this baggage claim hall.
Okay.
And then that means the baggage claim area that's in AB terminal right now becomes freed up, and we can actually expand the screening checkpoint.
Ah, okay.
And we can try to do that within the existing building envelope, which is you know, cost effective and, efficient.
Right.
And so that really is what unlocks the opportunity.
Wow.
So we do the central screening, the central baggage claim hall, and then we fix the screening at AB.
Okay.
In the C terminal, we go over to the C terminal and we add a module onto the C terminal.
Okay.
And we slide the ticket counters down.
Okay.
So where you're at today for Alaska and American, basically just imagine that being relocated a little bit further to the west.
To the west, okay.
In kind of a new box.
Because there's space to build out there.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And then the idea is to take, and again, just rotate and expand that screening checkpoint.
Okay.
So we begin
because you've opened up space.
Exactly.
With the check-in. Okay.
Exactly.
That's
The other part of the conversation is with Alaska Airlines right now is to look at the ground level hold room, which we don't think is the best customer experience anymore, not necessarily the best front door image of our community like we talked about.
Yep.
And so what we'd like to do is to actually get out of that ground level hold room space and move to expanded gate areas on the upper C concourse.
Okay.
And that would allow us to build additional food and beverage facilities and concentrate all of that on the upper level.
When you say ground level, and I haven't been at the airport for a couple of years, except to pick up people and drop them off. Are you talking about the Horizon area?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Because Alaska is upstairs.
Yes. So Alaska main line is upstairs.
Okay. So you're going to move everything upstairs.
We'd like to move everything upstairs.
Ah, okay, great.
And then we would have ramps, of course.
Yes.
Very similar to the C concourse at SeaTac.
Right.
That are kind of dual use gates.
Yes.
And that's because we see over time that there'll be a mix of aircraft, mainline, regional jets, and the Q400s.
Right.
And then over time, we expect the Q400s to phase out, and probably we'll have all either regional jets or mainline jets.
Right.
In that
How
area.
the world continues to change.
Yes.
I remember flying when I worked 25 years ago on the little 18-passenger planes. You know.
Right.
Yeah. We don't see those anymore, do we?
No. And actually, even the propeller aircraft in general.
Yeah.
The Q400 will probably ultimately be phased out by Alaska, so we'll be all jets at some point, and using loading bridges for all aircraft instead of ground loading right now.
Yeah.
So the terminal renovations expansion program is going to be done in several phases, and what our objective, Kent, is to try to do this with as little disruption as possible.
Yeah.
Because we already have an overabundance situation, right?
Yes. And then you're only going to add to it when you do construction. We know that.
Exactly.
Right? That's a given.
So our job is to try to figure out how to do this and be as invisible about it as possible to the customers.
Sure.
And then be able to move the airlines around, and make sure that the customer experience does not deteriorate.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've offered up a number of different looks in the, on the show of the focus areas, and you can see there are focus areas, in the AB, focus areas in the central part, and then of course focus areas on the C. For folks who have traveled in and out, it is going to be very straightforward. They understand, what we're really trying to do.
Right.
Now the question is going to be how long is it going to take, and when does it start?
Yes. And it's construction, so we can times two it.
Yes, right. How about that, right? We're going to try to subtract 2 times from it at the rate we're going. But the idea is to really look at the bid packages that we can advance more quickly.
Right.
And the nice thing about the baggage hall is because that doesn't disrupt any facilities right now, we can probably move on that more quickly.
Right.
And so, in addition to a number of things that we're working on,
because when you're dealing with people and the effect directly on people, you have to then take steps to accommodate that,
so
which means more planning and so forth.
And there's a lot of thought going into this from that perspective, because we really do not want to cause a lot of disruption in what we're doing.
Yeah, the last thing you want is someone coming to Spokane and say, I'm not going back there again because it's a darn nuisance.
Well, and we want to communicate with people about what this is going to look like when it's done.
Yeah.
And so
we have a couple of pictures that show that too.
We do have some photos that show that we'll scroll through. And I think it's important that we communicate that to the customers. This is what we're doing, and this is what it's going to look like when it's finished.
Right.
And so I think that people are really going to be
because that gives people hope.
It does.
Okay, I'm going to put up with it now, but soon.
That there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to be really great when it's done.
I remember traveling all the time and going through Seattle and even Portland, but especially Seattle, and I swear there wasn't a concourse that wasn't being renovated.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, come on, when is this? They start on one part of it and then they finish, and you go, okay, and then a month later, the rest of it would be.
Yes.
And it does kind of get old after a while when you're tired, you're trying to get home, you're trying to get to a meeting and all that. You want to make it as trouble-free as possible.
We do. And that's a big goal. And that's, and we're going to work really hard to make sure that we do not see a deterioration in the customer experience as a result of the construction.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of this, and this has been something that we've been working on for years in the making. So we have already spent a lot of time, thinking through it,
but
validating
the timeline is accelerating.
But now the timeline has accelerated. So we're going to have to move fast over the next few years to try to get this into place. In order for us to continue to add more flights.
Yes.
We are never going to stop looking for our next opportunity to provide more nonstop service to our community. So that's really important.
And I know in talking with my friends that visit Spokane and so forth that this is an important part of their bringing visitors and conventions to town and those kinds of things. And they tell me, Kent, it saves above $400, close to $500 a year on your taxes by bringing people in because they aren't using schools, they aren't using some of the other, but they're coming to town and they're eating dinner, they're staying in hotels and those kinds of things. So we don't want to discourage people from coming here. Or from our own people to travel, because we have a lot of businesses, and I think our audience sometimes is really surprised when we have guests on that have businesses here in Spokane that are international. But they're based here for the right reasons, because we love it here.
That's right.
But they want to be able to get to somewhere and not have to spend a day and a half changing planes and everything else.
Precisely. And I think that's one of the benefits of some of these more recent routes that we've won.
Right.
DFW is a great example.
Absolutely.
Is it somebody that's in business in Brazil, maybe in the aerospace industry, can actually get to Spokane in one stop.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
Well, our youngest reporter just got home from Texas Christian University, going down to down through DFW. Am I saying it right?
Yes, sir.
And so that's a very high on his priority to go to that school. He'll probably make a decision, and so will they, in the next month. And now they're going to be direct flights.
Yes.
And so that's going to make a world of difference. And that's just one example I can think of. And there are a lot of people who travel.
And it's not lost on us that the DFW area is where BNSF is headquartered.
Okay,
as an example, in terms of doing business in our area. Very important customer of our region.
We have about 2 minutes left. What else do we need to cover here? Because there's so much good information. I love this.
There is, and I think just as the opportunity permits to scroll, through, you can, the viewers will be able to get an idea of what some of these improvements will look like.
Right.
And I think that's important because they will be able to get a sense of what the finished product
that's
looks
absolutely
like.
beautiful.
So the baggage claim hall is going to be absolutely stunning.
Okay.
As well as the gate areas when they're done. We'll be able to reconcession it and have it very interactive. It's going to look like the front door image that we really want to maintain.
Right.
As you point out, Kent, bringing folks in from the global economy into Spokane.
Yes.
And there's certain expectations that those international travelers have.
Absolutely.
And it's our desire to meet those and also to really have a great image of our community and what it means.
I think we set the tone back before I was here in Spokane in 1974 when we invited the world in.
Yes.
And we have done nothing but continue to increase that image and the actuality of being able to bring people in and to travel throughout the world from
Absolutely.
Spokane, Washington, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
well, and I think people, really do equate the airport as sort of, the port of our community, right?
Yes. Yes.
Airports are the deep water ports of the global economy.
Absolutely.
And we're no different.
Right. Larry, you're going to have to promise to come back because this is really exciting. First things first will be the check-in system, what am I calling it?
The baggage claim area.
Baggage claim and all of that.
Followed by the renovations of the screening checkpoints.
Wow, okay. And when do you think some of that will start?
We're hoping to begin in late 2019.
Okay, okay. So we're a little over a year away. But,
about a year out.
But, getting the architectural drafts done and everything else that has to be done ahead of time.
We're in the design process now, and we may do other enabling projects like utility relocations and other things like that.
Yeah, all the fun things.
All the fun things.
Yeah, that have to be done. We know. Larry, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Good job. Gateway to Spokane and to the world. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about the Rotary Club, the 21st Rotary Club in the nation, right after this.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
To find the right home for you, you'll work with your realtor to compare the properties you're interested in, analyze the market, and figure out a reasonable offer price. And now, here you are, ready to make an offer. Yay, you! Here's how it works. First, you'll complete an offer sheet which your realtor will then present to the owner. Sometimes, a nice note to the owner can help your offer stand out. Butter them up. Tell them how much you love their garden, that it reminds you of gardening with your grandmother as a child. Do not mention you're gonna bulldoze it and put in a pool. The owner may accept the offer, reject it, or counter. It's important to be in close contact with your realtor during the negotiation process so any changes can be reviewed. Your realtor is like your consigliere, and that makes you the Don. Once your offer is finally accepted, there are usually some contingencies that must be met in order to keep the contract alive. Inspections are totally common in real estate transactions. They include termite checks, surveys to determine boundaries, appraisals to determine value for lenders, title reviews, and structural inspections. This stuff is mind-numbingly fascinating. But you know what's even more fascinating? Actually getting your new house.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and a description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and I was going to say an old friend, but that might be interpreted wrong because we've both aged in a little bit. You're retired.
You have.
Yeah. And some people haven't changed either, smart Alec. I've known you for what? On and off for what? 25 years, 30 years, something like that?
I've been here 22 years.
Is it 20?
You
okay.
were one of the first people I met when I moved to Spokane.
Yeah, and it was downhill from there, wasn't it?
Oh, no, I knew what I was in for.
You had twins. Chase and something.
Chase and Chance.
Okay.
Good.
And they're now adults, aren't they?
They're 27.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
I remember you repeating, or somebody did, that when they were walking into the building, in the old building downtown, Mom, this is your building.
Yes. Yeah.
You
To
remember?
my boss.
Yeah, I know.
Mom, you're the boss.
No, not quite. Rich, watch out.
Yeah,
really. We also have an old friend that you have met, Paul Metzl, who is in charge of the Rotary International Foundation.
The foundation.
I believe he's chair of the thing.
He is.
And I see him gosh, was he in Pakistan or somewhere else the last couple? I mean, I see him on Facebook traveling the world and so forth.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I worked for him back in high
Yes, you
school and
did.
college, and then for his organization, and we go way back. His son Chip, who's got to be about 55 now, something like that. We love to tease him because my wife and I, before we were married, babysat him, and all that. Now he's he's got his own kids and probably grandkids by now. I haven't talked to him for a couple of years. But Rotary. Now, my impression of Rotary, and you're about to correct me because it was told to me a few years back that Rotary is for old men and their fathers. Okay, so tell me what it is today. It's not that, is it?
It's changed a bit.
Yes.
Actually, they've
It's
allowed...
gotten prettier
Oh,
to start with.
Bless your little heart. Bless your little heart. Yeah, women actually have been part of Rotary for the past 30 years.
Right.
And so, but there are still people that think it's for people that are men, white-haired, for fathers and their grandfathers.
Yeah.
So we're trying to change that image.
And how are you changing that? Because that is for a number of people, and I want to talk about millennials too, and how they're getting involved or not getting involved. Because I mean, I've been in Rotary in the past and so forth, and it was always the older community membership, the folks in town. I'm thinking back to California and so forth. And obviously the face and the activities of Rotary have changed. And how is that affecting recruitment today of membership?
One thing that has just recently changed from Rotary International Council on Legislation is that they've created a lot more flexibility with membership.
Okay.
Where you used to have to come every week, and they took attendance, and you had to put time in, right?
Yes. I remember those days. Yes.
And it's not so much that anymore.
Okay.
If they can come twice a month, and sometimes that activity...
Just be active.
Yeah, just to be active.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was, when I was down at the International Assembly preparing for my governor journey, I spoke with someone from in the southern part of the states, and they said what they reached out to is they reached out to not-for-profits in the community and said, if you had a group of folks for 1 hour, would there be something meaningful for them to do?
Yes.
And it was so overwhelming that they started calling the power of the hour, and this club changed into that of service every week, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, so let's first talk about, and then let's get into, you're going to be governor.
I am.
Yeah, okay.
I am.
We even have an official photo that we put out this morning, right?
I know, crazy.
Right, yeah. Let's talk about Rotary 21. Is that the club that you're involved in?
I am not, but when I was going through my journey of a member and an assistant governor, 21 was one of my clubs, and they are the 21st club internationally, and amazing club, yes.
Do you remember what the first one was? First club?
It would have been in Chicago.
Yeah. Okay. Probably before our time.
Probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And Seattle 4 is, they have...
Seattle is 4.
They're 4.
Wow.
Tacoma
I mean,
8.
that's really kind of exciting to think that the Pacific Northwest has 4 and 21.
That's
and
right.
that's not bad
That's
for
right.
an organization with that kind of timeline. Okay, so the makeup today is changing. How are you recruiting younger people today? Because I've always heard for any service club, that's been the challenge, because it's always been that perception that it's the older established community, and yet we know a lot is happening in our community with younger people.
Yes.
Younger to me meaning 20s and 30s, okay?
Yes.
Kids to me, but yes,
I think a lot of times younger adults want to make a difference.
Okay.
They are looking for mentors. And I even look at businesses that see where are their shining stars? What is the next level?
Okay.
Would it not be good for them to get involved in a service organization? Because I really got to know this community through Rotary.
Right.
And it's really a way for them to be involved. And it's a good representation for their company, and even now there's even corporate membership.
Okay.
So there's a lot more flexibility with that.
Things really have changed.
They have.
Yeah.
And young people, they don't see borders. They want to make a difference globally.
Right.
And I believe Rotary is a way that they can do that.
And that's part of that I alluded to earlier with Paul's involvement in the National Foundation. In fact, I was telling someone the other day, saying I have a friend in the foundation, and they pointed out to me, well, it's not a statewide foundation, it's an international foundation.
It is.
I mean, to me, that was a learning experience, and the global thinking that is involved and that really is of interest to some of the younger folks.
It is, and you can make a difference.
Yeah.
When I was down in San Diego preparing for this journey, I was there with 556 other governor-elects in the world.
Wow.
And we had 17 different languages that were being spoken, and so whomever, it was an amazing experience.
Okay, Governor.
Yes, sir.
When does this start?
Officially, my journey starts July 1, but
Okay.
it's kind of been a 5-year journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am finishing the end of year 3.
Okay.
But really, from January on, it has been
This is what you're focused on, isn't it?
totally, because
Really?
not only am I identifying my district council within
Right.
the district, training up all the president-elects. Not
Okay.
only we do that with 8 other districts. So in February, I was over in...
Now, what's the size of a district? Is that within just the state or?
No, actually,
Okay.
our district is an international district. A third of my clubs are in British Columbia.
Wow,
So as
okay.
far north as Golden, BC, and as far south as the
an
Tri-Cities.
excuse. This is an excuse to travel, isn't it?
Excuse to travel and have some great golf. And we also have Idaho. You can only do meetings
Are you
so
old enough
much.
to play golf yet? I thought that was just for old retired people.
Well, I'm older and I am retired, so there you go. So yeah, we have quite geographically, our district is
so
quite
what will
big.
be your responsibilities when you officially become the governor on July 1st? I mean, I know you're working toward it, and I'm going to guess that there's a follow-up. How long does it last?
It's 1 year.
1 year, okay. So what will be your primary responsibilities? What do you hope to accomplish in 2018, 2019?
Well, not to mess it up too much.
That's an honest answer. That's an honest answer, isn't that?
No, actually,
true?
my job as district governor is to serve members and to serve the club.
Okay.
And what I can be to provide them, whether if I have the resources or find the resources to assist them. First bit is I will reach out and meet with every club. Their leadership team, as well as come to their club meetings.
Right.
And so, my husband and I will be on the road for about 5.5 months.
Wow. Constantly or in and out?
Home most weekends, but then there's usually something else going on. So we are giving our life to Rotary.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Is he enjoying it?
Well, he still has his business, but I think he's getting excited about the journey. However, I must admit, we'll probably be taking our little Shih Tzu with us. And so when Bill has had enough, he says, I need to go check on Leroy.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Oh, gosh.
But no, it'll be a wonderful thing. Of course, membership, like anything, is really a big focus for any service organization. And it is for ours as well, because for those that were the men and their fathers, right? They're aging out.
Yes.
And so it's a matter of finding folks that want to invest their time to make a difference in the community.
It gives me great honor to know people like a Larry Stanley, who's 89 years old, who still shows up for Rotary so very often.
He's
and
wonderful.
And swears by it and loves it and all of that. In fact, he stops in here every so often before going across the street, and such a pleasure to work with him and others that are involved in it. I know you've got Chris Patterson involved in Rotary here, and Chuck Wendell, I think.
Chud will be our president this coming year.
I think he kind of pushed that off for a year because of his new assignment at Hutton Settlement and so forth. But good people in the community that stand up for our community and are involved in so many other things. So, well, Bev, any last words? How can people learn more about Rotary and what you're doing?
Oh my goodness, they can reach out. We actually have 11 clubs, even just within the Spokane corridor, up through Coeur d'Alene and through.
Amazing,
and so,
amazing, yes.
Yeah, it's just a matter of reaching out.
So it's a matter of finding which one is close by, which one meets your schedule, because some people work early in the morning, so a morning meeting might not be good. but a lunch or afternoon or whatever. So there are choices involved, aren't there?
Oh, there's all kinds of choices, and every club kind of has its own flavor of what they're looking for. You know, Course 21 is a huge club, and they do amazing, amazing work.
But do you have to work with John Garisco at all?
Oh, yes. I was assistant governor when John was president. And
he's a good guy. I love to give him a bad time.
John John's a great guy. No, I was thinking another John, but John is actually one of our assistant governors right now, and
really?
I actually recruited him into that spot. John's a wonderful, wonderful guy.
He's just a good guy, and I think that spells the kind of people that are in Rotary.
There is.
You know, I mean, it really.
So if people are interested, it would just be you can Google District 5080. That is our district. You can go on there, and
there you
just to say, at the end of the year, we have a big convention or a conference afterwards, and we're going to do it with Seattle 5030. So they are going to come to Spokane.
Oh, good job!
So next May we'll be putting on a conference for over 700 people.
A year from now.
Yes.
Okay.
And it'll be in the convention center, and
and
we have amazing speakers lined up.
I think it's Marcom or somebody's doing something this week with the Seattle Club, and they're all doing it here in Spokane. I love it when we can host things here in Spokane.
I love it.
Of course, we've provided pretty good weather too.
Yes, we have.
Well, Bev, thanks for coming. Good to see you. Continue the good work of involving the community, because it's important that we give back.
Yes, it is.
It's not only important to the community, but it helps us individually as well.
That's right.
So,
we're here to serve.
Good to see you. Thank you.
It's been a
very
pleasure.
Much. All right. Thanks. We'll see you next week right here, next Tuesday, right here, live, Spokane Talks Live. Have a great week.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Online, LLC, which is solely responsible for its content. To recommend a guest or topic, or to see this program again, please visit our website, SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Join us next Wednesday, noon, for another nourishing conversation on Spokane Talks Live.